so today I am joined by our Senior Sales Manager, Jade Wong, who is down here from Abu Dhabi. Jade is based mainly between our Abu Dhabi mainland office and our ADGM office. I just thought a catch up on Abu Dhabi and kind of what's been happening down in Abu Dhabi would be good to just get a few updates, because there's been a lot of kind of coverage specifically around ADGM in the last 12 months, I'd say, with the announcement of ADGM going into El Rim Island.
That's right.
So we have kind of talked on this a little bit, but I guess what might be interesting is kind of where it's at the moment.
Yeah.
And what ADGM are doing to help facilitate the transfer.
Okay, well, yeah, Abu Dhabi Global Market has now expanded to Reem Island. So that means that all onshore companies that are currently based in Reem Island are having to think about whether they want to keep their onshore license and move their office space out of Reem Island, or if they want to convert their license to ADGM, which is quite easy to do. It's not difficult. And also ADGM are offering incentives to companies who might want to do that. So they've completely removed the fees if it's done by the end of October.
Okay.
So there's an incentive to switch your license. However, you do need to have a few considerations, and that comes down to what your activities are, who you're working with, do you need that onshore presence? So there's a number of things that you need to think about if you are considering moving or switching your license, but it has to be done by the end of the year.
Okay. Is there some businesses that the move would make obvious sense and some that it wouldn't? I guess retail is ones that it would be quite easy to transfer over, right, without any additional considerations?
Yeah, definitely. So retail needs to switch because most retail has their space, or they have some space in the mall, so they will need to switch their license. Easy to do. So I think most retail spaces are going to do that. But if it comes down to an onshore license that, for example, is working with the likes of ADNOC or a government department in Abu Dhabi, and they have that, onshore presence, and they need to physically be available onshore, then they might need to consider moving, their office space.
Okay.
Alternatively, what they could do is they could convert their license if they want to keep their office space and set up some sort of dual license, which is an onshore permit to allow you to work onshore.
Okay. And then on top of that, ADGM also recently announced massive fee reductions, right? Starting from the start of next year, like very quickly turn that around. Why do you think that they've done that? Is it to further incentivize people coming into ADGM, I suppose?
Yeah, I think ADGM has a vision, long term. So they've created these incentives by, one of them is the 50% reduction on their fees for certain types of licenses. So it is encouraging people to think about setting up in ADGM.
Yeah.
I guess they've got a plan in place in the future that they want to, encourage people to invest there.
Yeah.
And then there's other incentives as well. So say, for example, tech startup licenses, they have incentives for those types of companies who are looking to set up an ADGM as well. I think it's all part of their vision for the future.
And they're doing a lot of building and construction work on the location, aren't they? So they're going to have the space to facilitate lots of new businesses and companies coming in there. Yeah, I think ADGM is quite interesting because you also see a lot of kind of information and resources that are available to people that want to set up an ADGM. Like even with this transfer into El Rim, they're offering quite a lot of support, aren't they? They've had a lot of community events and stuff like that, haven't they?
Yeah. There's full support. Even around El Rim Island now, you'll find that in some of the office lobbies that you'll find that ADGM are there available. So if you need information, you can always visit those locations and get some information if needed.
Yeah, and I also think what I saw that was quite interesting is that they often ask for feedback from the people on the ground. For example, I've seen that they've recently announced some updates to the employment law.
Yeah.
It really seems like they take the feedback from the people that are licensed in their jurisdiction into consideration, right?
They are.
So I guess it kind of encourages a collaborative way to move forward, and so that the businesses that set up in their jurisdiction feel like they are being heard and that their thoughts are opinions are taken into consideration,
Definitely.
which I guess only provides further incentive to set up there.
Yeah.
And then I guess what else is happening down in Abu Dhabi? I see that there's quite a bit of movement in terms of like visas, and I saw that there's an announcement for like the freelance visa categories to expand. So it seems like just in general, Abu Dhabi are kind of making moves towards a more business friendly environment, but then also just a great place to live and work.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, not just for companies who are looking to expand to Abu Dhabi, it's also individuals. So, you know, you've got the golden visa, also freelancers. So freelance licenses are great for individuals. You know, it's a good startup option to have. You can, you know, get a license, you can get a visa, you can sponsor your dependents. It does limit you in terms of, you know, if you wanted to employ staff, but, you know, it's great for individuals. So yes, Abu Dhabi is trying to encourage people to move there. And they're giving them, you know, these options now, you know, where they can set up, they can get their bank account opened, you know, they can, you know, get a lease agreement once they've got their freelance license and their visa in place.
Yeah, they seem to be really kind of leading for the UAE more so than kind of any of the other cities, that kind of startup entrepreneur kind of push, aren't they?
Definitely.
Because they've got incubators, they've got so much support there. I mean, we work with a few companies that kind of offer those incentives as well, don't we?
Yeah.
And then just generally some comments on what kinds of businesses are particularly, you know, kind of booming in Abu Dhabi. Is there specific industries that we're really seeing like a big push with?
I mean, you see a lot of companies who are working with the likes of ADNOC, government departments, but also you have, I mean, you've got a lot of different industries coming to Abu Dhabi, but it is a lot of government work. There's the energy sector that has been, you know, very steady. You've got the likes of Masdar Free Zone, but then you've also got other free zones like 2454, which is a more media related type of free zone. So you've got a lot of media companies coming to Abu Dhabi, entertainment, event setups. So it's quite general actually, but then you have got that huge sector of energy and obviously ADNOC type of companies as well.
Yeah, and to work with ADNOC, you have to have an Abu Dhabi based company.
You do, yes, that's essential. So if you're looking to work with ADNOC, you need to be onshore. You can have a free zone company in Abu Dhabi and have some sort of dual license, but you certainly need to have an onshore presence. You need certain approvals to be able to work with ADNOC as well. So yes, it's very important to be in Abu Dhabi for that particular reason.
Great, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.